Hello everybody, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Got a new update for you guys. Some recent vinyl pickups, thrift and otherwise. Hope everybody's been having a good summer. It's been a hot one here. Hopefully it's still summer when I upload this. It's August as I record right now. But it's been a hot one here. We had a few days where it kind of cooled off a bit. Now it's supposed to heat up again in the next few days. So we'll get right into it. First up, what I was just listening to for the first time right before I switched the camera on. Sons of Kemet, Your Queen is a Reptile. Very militant jazz out of the UK, brand new on the Impulse label. It's been shown quite a lot in the vinyl community, so I probably don't need to say too much. Went for the CD on that one. I wasn't too sure if I wanted to splash out for the vinyl. Wasn't sure how many spins it would get. But on first listen, I'm loving it, so I think it is going to be vinyl worthy at some point. A couple of reggae textures in there as well. Furious percussion, blasts of horn, a few little vocals here and there. Getting into a couple of thrift finds. I wonder if the Australian contingent in the vinyl community can help me out with this one. I can't find too much info on it. It's a thrift find I had a week or two back. It is Judy Henderson. Album called Making Waves from 1974 on good old Polydor label. Recorded in Sydney, Australia, only released there and in Canada, which is apparently why some copies surface in Canada. Again, can't find too much info on here, but this is kind of piano-led singer-songwriter, early 70s sound. There's a bit of jazz and soul influences on there, and actually quite a strong Laura Nyro, however you pronounce it, influence. I hear quite a bit in her songwriting. Just in the way she kind of mixes up different genres and kind of twists and turns with the rhythm. Quite an interesting album. A couple kind of funky, soulful moments on there. Had a few jazz thrift finds as well. Ella and Oscar, 1976 on the Pablo Records label. Just piano, voice, bass on some tracks, so very sparse instrumentation, but a very lush sound as Ella Fitzgerald goes through the kind of the Great American Songbook, Gershwin songs, and yeah, Oscar Peterson on piano, the great Oscar Peterson. So just a beautiful album, very simple but very classy, very restrained. Another jazz one that was there at the same time at the thrift store, Django Reinhardt. Never really listened to any of him. Kind of a jazz guitar. It's on the Jazz Legacy label. Very early recordings. He passed away in the early 1950s, so this is kind of recordings that span the range from 1937 to 1951, which would make it, I think, the earliest music I have in my collection on vinyl. And this one also is very early. Jack Teagarden, some kind of big band jazz. I guess these are all dubbed from 78s, so the sound quality kind of varies from here to there, but generally it's pretty good. That's kind of a cool record label. Queen disc. Apparently it's an Italian pressing. Bit of kind of warping on the cover, but vinyl's in excellent shape. Got Louis Armstrong on some tracks here. Another one that was at the thrift store. I was kind of surprised to see this. Ravi Shankar. The Genius of Ravi Shankar. This is from 1967. Some say 1968. Blue CBS label. I've never seen that before. Apparently, yeah, it's Canadian pressing. So Indian kind of classical music with sitar, right at the height of his popularity with the rock crowd, with his appearance at Monterey in 1967. Wonder how many minds were expanded to this one. Very excellent shape on that one too. Just a little bit of cover wear on the front there. Went on a bit of a vacation to the town of Vernon, BC. We go there every summer. It's kind of about 4 or 5 hours north of here, kind of in the interior. Did a little bit of digging there, didn't find too much. Found this one in a thrift store. It's Robert Paquette, French-Canadian, recorded in Quebec on the Quebec disc label. This is kind of singer-songwriter, country, rock, folk There's a bit of a kind of instrumental bossa nova jazz flavored tune on here, which is very nice. Even a bit of reggae on here. He's got a song called Jamaica, which has kind of got some steel drums and a reggae flavor to it. It's kind of interesting. And the only other vinyl I picked up on holiday was this one. This was at a record store. Ramsey Lewis, Mother Nature's Son. It's 1968. Still in shrink on the Cadet label. 1968 this came out. Excellent condition on this. Got this for $2.50. Couldn't pass that up. This has got his covers of songs from the Beatles' White Album. So you've got the title track, Rocky Raccoon, Julia, Back in the USSR, Blackbird, all those classic songs with this kind of jazz funk arrangements, and arrangements by Charles Stepney, of course. Cool. Can't pass up Ramsey in good shape. Getting into a few reggae pickups, online, all online, I think. Found this one. I finally went for this one. I've been looking for this one for years. It is Bunny Wailer's Dub Disco Volume 2, or Volume 1 rather, sorry. These are dubs to primarily songs from his classic Blackheart Man album from the late 70s. And that is on his own Solomonic label. I've had Volume 2 for many years. Been looking out, I've seen it a number of times in the wild. I've always been looking for Volume 1, never found it. So finally I had to go for it. In nice condition. Next up, this is one I have the reissue of, but I had a chance to pick up the original. It is The Interns, an album called Detour from 1976, 78-ish, I'm going to say. It doesn't have it on here. I'm going to say 1978. This is on the Burning Rockers label out of the UK. This is kind of a second pressing of the album. I have the reissue of it. I probably showed it in an early video, or earlier. But it originally came out on the Chananjaa label as Consider Yourself by the Interns. This is a Pressure Sounds reissue from 2014. Chananjaa label. And then a year or two later, after its original release, it came out as Detour. Same album on the Burning Rockers label. So late 70s, kind of second pressing, this one. The Interns were better known as a group called the Viceroys, had their roots in the 60s. The original lineup kind of split by the early 70s. They were kind of at loose ends, literally a detour. They changed their name to, first of all, they changed their name to Truth, Fact, and Correct. Did one song for Lee Perry at the Black Ark called Babylon Depon Fire. This is it, actually. It's a reissue on the Black Wax label out of the UK. And then they had a further name change to the Interns, recorded the Consider Yourself Detour album for Phil Pratt, very much in the Channel 1 rockers sound of the day. Contains one of their big hits, Nothing Is Impossible, aka My Mission Is Possible, which they recorded a few times. Quite a heavy, hard-hitting version on this one. Just an excellent roots harmony album for producer Phil Pratt. Following this, they kind of reorganized a second lineup of the group, turned to the Viceroy's name and cut a series of, or a couple of classic albums in the early 80s. Second to last pickup I'm going to share today, classic album. I did a spotlight video probably a year or so back on this guy when he passed away. Had a chance to get his debut LP. It is Larry Marshall, presenting Larry Marshall. This is not an original. The original came out in 1974 in a silk-screened edition. It's very expensive. Even this edition from, this is kind of a later edition from 1984. Even this goes for some considerable money, high double digits, on the Coxsone label. Early 80s US pressing. Got this for a steal, 20 bucks or so. It's described as VG condition, but plays perfect and looks pretty good too. Larry Marshall, classic recordings done at Studio One. Some credit him with the very first true reggae song, which was Nanny Goat, which is on here. Collects kind of all his key songs for Studio One. Thelma, Throw Me Corn, Mean Girl. There's a duet with the final song is a duet with Alton Ellis called Wonderful World. Just beautiful song. Both of them are amazing vocalists, but when they get together, it's something out of this world. I wish they'd recorded more together. And the last one I'm going to share with you today, I showed these guys in an earlier video where I showed their Boat to Zion album. I picked up the one before that. It is Madness by the Mighty Maytones, aka the Maytones. Perhaps best known for their song Money Worries on the Harder They Come soundtrack. They had these two very classic albums on their own, and this one, to match the blue vinyl of the other one, I got the red vinyl on this one. 1976, classic roots harmony, very rural sound. They were from the countryside of Jamaica, very much in roots harmonizing tradition, produced by Alvin Ranglin. It's got some kind of more love songs on here, and then but the title track obviously has social concerns, and definitely Judgment to Come, Zion Land. Those have a very gospel feeling with a hard-hitting roots reggae message. So that's what I've got for you today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care, and thanks for tuning in. Cheers.